about section 9.1 and 9.2. 9.1 is levy and collection of CGST and 9.2 is levy and collection of levy of CGST on petroleum products. 9.3 and 9.4. 9.3, my dear lovable students, is notified RCM and 9.4 is RCM on notified goods or services or RCM from an unregistered person. Alright. Sir, yesterday we talked about section 9.5. We have to talk about section 9.5. 9.5 is the government may, on the recommendation of the council, by notification, specify category of services. Section 9.5 is talking only about services, not goods. Whereas 9.3, 9.4 talking about both goods and services. The tax on intrastate supply. Why intrastate supply? It is CGST Act, correct? Supplies on which shall be paid by e-commerce operator if such supplies are supplied through it, and all provisions of this act shall apply to such e-commerce operator as if he is the person liable for paying the tax in relation to the supply of. That means what is the one-line summary is, there are certain notified services, specified services. If you are supplying those specified services through the e-commerce operator, the supplier are not liable to pay any tax. E-commerce operator is having the responsibility of payment of GST. It is important to note that this exception is carved out only in respect of supply of through an e-commerce operator and will not be applicable or relevant to supply of any goods through an e-commerce operator. If you are supplying goods through an e-commerce operator, supplier is the person liable to pay GST. Otherwise, if you are supplying services, that services can be classified into two categories: notified services and other than notified services. For notified services, e-commerce operator is liable. Other than notified services, so the supplier is liable subject to the notification specified under section 23. Correct? Yes, so we are having notified services of e-commerce operator, my dear lovable students. The central government has notified in case of following category of services, the tax on intrastate supply shall be paid by the, which in our class we used to say that happy services. What is it? Happy services. Now the happy services notification has been amended. They have excluded one person. The same person has been included by way of one way. Service by way of N of passenger. By radio taxi, motor cab, maxi cab and motorcycle or any other motor vehicle except omnibus. Except omnibus. That means if you are transporting passenger through radio taxi, motor cab, maxi cab, motorcycle or any other motor vehicle except omnibus, then the e-commerce operator is the person liable to pay GST. So omnibus has been excluded. Now, one day has been included, man. Service by way of transportation of passenger by NBus, except where person supplying such service through e-commerce operator is a company. So you have to check whether the omnibus is a omnibus supplier is a company or not. If the supplier is a company, then FCM. Otherwise, it is ECM. Otherwise, it is ECM. Correct? It's not RCM. It is ECM. So service by way of providing accommodation in hotel, in guest house, club, campsite or by other commercial place meant for any purpose or lodging purpose, except where the person supplying such service through any commerce operator is liable for registration under section 22 subsection 1 of the said act. That means, my dear lovable students, sir, this is a special understanding should be that with regard to accommodation services, you have to check whether the service provider is liable for registration or not. If he is liable for registration, the supplier is liable to pay GST. Otherwise, is the e-commerce operator is liable to pay GST. Services by way of keeping services such as plumbing, carpenting, etc. except where person supplying such service through e-commerce operator is liable for registration under section 22 subsection 1 of the said act. Again, you have to check. That is whether the supplier of housekeeping services are liable for registration under section 22 or not. If is liable for registration under section 22, then FCM. Otherwise, sir, ECM will be applicable. Supply of restaurant services other than service supplied by restaurant, eating joints, etc. located at specified premises. Sir, this is supply of any services? Restaurant services. Other than service supplied by restaurant, eating joints, etc. located at the premises. So this is a new addition, correct? So they have added, sir, this many item. This is happy services, sir. H stands for housekeeping services. A stands for accommodation services. Sir, P stands for transportation of passenger services. In that they have excluded omnibus services. Now they have included omnibus if the supplier is other than a company. Correct? If the supplier is a company, the supplier is liable to pay GST on a forward charge basis. Otherwise, e-commerce operator is liable to pay GST. Right? So, omnibus has been added and restaurant services are also added. Another restaurant services are also added. That is supply of services. Not all restaurant service other than service supplied by restaurant, eating joints, etc. located at specified place. For example, if you are going to Buhari eating there, then they are liable for GST. Are you really with me? They are talking about Swiggy, Zomato. Are you really with me? So supply of services, restaurant services other than services supplied by the restaurant, eating joints, etc. located at the. So if they are fixed at specified location, they will take care of the payment of GST. They will take the registration if required. If they are composition dealer under section 10, they will not collect the output tax. Whatever route they want, they will travel. Hello. If they are supplying through a e-commerce operator, then e-commerce operator is liable to pay GST on a ECM basis. Correct?
Yes, sir.
This is what, if you want to be happy in your NSR life, have ORS, drink ORS. Are you really with me? Be healthy, be happy. That's what they are saying. Sir, last time we were having only NS services, man. Happy services. Now, in order to be happy, we have to be healthy. In order to be healthy, have ORS. H stands for housekeeping services. A stands for accommodation services. P stands for passenger transportation services. O stands for omnibus services. R stands for restaurant services other than fixed restaurants. Are you really with me?
Yes, sir.
So that's it with regard to the 9.5. This is the amendment. This is the value addition in that. When you read now, this you should be able to appreciate or understand. These are notes. Person required to pay tax under NH charge or required to obtain registration under the GST. Is it right? The recipient of 9.3 or 9.4. Anyway, 9.4 is already a person, registered person. And 9.5 means e-commerce operator. If you are falling under the RCM or ECM cases, whether or not they make any supply, outward supply, and without having regard to the NO limit, in case of notified goods and services, that means if you are receiving notified goods or services which are covered under 9.3 or 5.3, you have to compulsory liable to take registration under section 24. Correct? We have two discussion. The supplier of the 9.3 or 5.3 will fall under section 23. Yes or no? Because they are not liable to take the registration, whereas the recipient of 9.3 or 5.3 will fall under section 24. For them, it is a compulsory registration. Correct?
Yes,
sir. Composition supplier, being recipient of supply on which tax is payable on NR charge basis, will have to remit tax at the NR rate, applicable rate, and not on the concessional composition rate. This we have discussed a lot.
Yes,
if you are a composition dealer, you are getting 9.3 or you are getting 5.3 services, then you are liable to pay tax on reverse charge basis, not at the rate applicable for section 10 composition levy. Correct?
Yes,
but at the rate applicable for normal rate of RCM. And you just think of a composition dealer, he has to discharge the RCM through his electronic cash ledger. Correct?
Yes, sir.
Whatever amount paid cannot be taken as what also? ITC also. It is an ultimate loss to the composition dealer because whatever tax he is paying will be swaha. Correct? And the recipient paying tax on NH charge basis, reverse charge basis, should issue a payment voucher. Should issue a at the time of making payment to the supplier. So if you are getting any supply from an unregistered person, correct?
Yes,
the recipient is the person responsible for raising the invoice. Correct?
Yes,
as per 31 subsection 3 clause F.
Yes, sir.
And when he makes the payment to the 9353 NSR supplier, he has to raise the voucher, payment voucher. He has to raise the payment voucher. Even the payment voucher is also covered in 31 subsection 3 clause G. Correct? Yes, sir. The recipient paying tax on a charge basis, reverse charge basis, on account of effecting inverse supply from any person, should issue an invoice in respect of the goods or services in at the time of receipt of such goods or so at the time of receipt of goods or services, this unregistered person is responsible for raising the invoice, tax invoice or invoice as per section 31 subsection 3 clause F. Correct? Yes, and after that, when he is making payment, my dear lovable students, he is supposed to raise the payment voucher, because that guy is an unregistered person, fall under section 23. Yes, he cannot issue an invoice. That's why the registered person is asking to raise the tax invoice under section 31 subsection 3 clause F. Pakka? Yes, sir. The next one, sir, when he makes the payment, he cannot give any receipt to voucher, because he does not have a registration. So we registered person are supposed to give the payment voucher. If you are a 9353 recipient, you are compulsory liable to take registration under section N4. 24. And if you are a, sir, my dear lovable students, recipient of specified 9353 services or goods, because 9353 NSR services or goods are covered, correct? Yes, then for you the time of supply will be covered under 12.3 or 13.3 as the case may be, correct? Yes, sir. 12.3 is time of supply of goods and 13.3 is time of supply of services, because these are the connected provision with regard to the RCM cases, correct? Yes, sir. Sir, I am explaining once again. Sir, these are the connected provision with regard to the recipient, because this we would have studied here and there, but we are organizing or coordinating in one place now. If you are a recipient of, sir, there are only two parties are there, correct? Parties classified into how many category? Two categories, supplier and recipient. Supplier of 9353 will fall under 23, correct? Because 9353 is equal to 23. 9353 is equal to 23. They are not liable for registration. They are not liable to take registration. Person not liable for registration. Correct? Yes, but if you are a recipient, the first responsibility for you is you have to take the compulsory registration under section 24. Once you take compulsory registration under section 24, hello, you are liable to pay tax. You are liable to pay tax on this inward supply. On this NS supply, we already studied the definition of inward supply, correct? On this inward supply, correct? On N basis, RCM basis. On N basis, RCM basis, correct? As per 93 or 53 as the case may be. 93 or 53 as the, so 93 or 53 is levying the responsibility in the head of the recipient. Now, when he is getting supply from an unregistered person, he has to raise the tax invoice under section 31 subsection 3 clause F. He has to raise the invoice. When he is making the payment, hello sir, then he has to raise the payment voucher as per section 31 subsection 3 clause G, correct? Yes, sir. Yes, sir. G, F. The next one, sir, when he has to make the tax to the department, no. Yes, for that you should have the time of supply. Yes, it is covered in 12.3 or 13.3 as the 12.3 is applicable to goods and 13.3 is applicable to which we are having three action. Date of receipt of goods or date of payment or 31st day from the supplier's invoice, whichever is earlier. With regard to services, date of receipt of services varadu, or date of payment or 61st day from the supplier's invoice, whichever is earlier. This is the connected provision, correct? Yes, sir. And these guys, sir, 9353 can take it as ITC. Whatever amount they are paying on reverse charge basis can be taken as ITC. But if this is a composition dealer, correct? Yes, sir, for him he has to pay RCM on a RCM rate la katna pattadu, he has to pay on the composition rate la katna pattadu, he has to pay on the RCM rate, correct? Yes, composition dealer rate la katna pattadu, and he cannot take what also? ITC also. So that recipient may be a composition dealer or normal person, correct? Yes, any other provision is flashing your brain, sir, regarding the recipient with regard to the RCM? He has to pay through the electronic cash ledger. Electronic cash ledger வழியாக தான் payment பண்ணணும். Electronic credit ledger balance இருந்தா கூட எடுத்துக்க கூடாது. Right. With this we are moving further. Right. Sir, intrastate supply. என்ன supply? We know that there are two types of supplies are there. Supplies can be classified into two categories. I am talking geographically. Geographically, supply can be classified into two categories. One is NSR dash supply, intrastate supply and interstate supply. Intrastate supply means உள்ளுக்குள்ளயா வெளியா. அதனாலதான் section 8 பாரு சுத்தி வந்தீங்க, கரெக்ட்டா? Sir, it is interstate supply, intrastate supply. Whereas section 7 is interstate supply. It will start from one state and reaching to the other state. It is starting from one state going out of another state, correct? That's why it is section 7 of the enactment IGST Act. Section 8 classified into two categories, 8 subsection 1 and 8 subsection 2. 8 subsection 1 intrastate supply of goods, 8 subsection 2 intrastate supply of right man. As per section 8 of the enact IGST Act, the broad principle for determining the supply of goods or services in the course of intrastate trade or commerce are with reference to goods. Shall we talk first? Sir, where the location of the supplier and place of supply are in same state or union territory will be treated as a. So where, sir, the location of the supplier and the place of supply of goods, if you are talking about 8 subsection 1, you have to specifically mention that it is place of supply of goods. If you are mottaya mentioning that place of supply, it is not correct. Are you really with me? Yes, where the location of the supplier and the place of supply of goods are in the same state or same union territory shall be treated as the. Section 8 subsection 1 is subject to the provisions of section 10 of the IGST Act, right? Yes, because section 10, 11, 12, 13. Section 10 is place of supply of goods. Section 11 international transaction. Section 12 domestic place of supply of services, which are domestic services. And section 30. So 8(1) is subject to the provisions of section 10. Yes, it implies that place of supply of goods shall be determined as per section 10 of the enact. And thereafter 8 subsection 1 would be applied. So the order is first you have to apply section 10 of the IGST Act, then come and apply 8 subsection 1 of the now sir IGST Act. Both are IGST Act only, correct? Intrastate supply exception. They are specifically saying that these three things are not interstate supply. The following supply of goods shall not be treated as intrastate supply, namely supply of goods or to or by to a NZ or an economic zone. Goods imported into the N of India till they cross the custom frontiers of India. So if you are bringing goods from outside India to India, it is not a intrastate supply, it is a that means import of goods is a interstate supply, and supply made to a tourist referred in section 15. So we are having 3 categories. Yes, number 1, import of goods from outside India is a. Number 2, supply to a tourist is a. And supply made to or by to a SEZ is a. As per section, it is an exception to with to supply reference to services is where the location of the supplier and place of supply are in same state or same union territory. It is an intrastate supply of. Sir, where the location of the supplier and place of supply of service are in the or same union territory shall be treated as intrastate supply. Paka. So 8 subsection 2 is subject to the provisions of section 12. 8 subsection 2 subject to the provision of section. It implies that place of supply of service shall be determined as per section 12 of the enact. And thereafter 8 subsection 2 would be applied. So first you have to apply section 12 of the and then you have to apply. We were having exception to 8 subsection 1. Straight away we are having exception to 8 subsection 2. The intrastate supply of service shall not include supply of services to or by an economic zone, developer or special economic zone unit. So if you are supplying of services to a SEZ or from an SEZ, is not an intrastate supply of services. It is an. So we have talked about section 8 of the IGST Act. Shall I talk about section 9 of the IGST Act, which is supply you have made from the inner water? So two characters are important. Number one is location of the supplier and the place of supply. If either of the answer you are getting as inner water, notwithstanding anything contained in this act, that means don't apply the provisions of section 8 where the location of supplier is the inner water, territorial water, that is the location of such supplier, or where the place of supply is the inner water, that is the place of supply, shall for the purpose of this act be deemed to be the inner state, coastal state or inner territory, where the nearest point of the appropriate baseline is located. For example, I may be supplying from the inner water, territorial water, correct? Nearest to this territorial water, Goa is the nearest inner state, coastal state. Then location of the supplier or the place of supply should be adopted as Goa, correct? This is what the provisions of section 9 is all about. So the characters of section 8, so there are two characters are there, correct? Location of the supplier and the place of supply are in same state or same union territory, it should be treated as. So we are having an explanation of 1 and 2 which are deemed distinct person, correct? Yes sir. Where a person has an establishment in India and any other establishment, then both these guys will be treated as deemed distinct person. We already studied. And an establishment in a state or in a territory and any other establishment registered within that state or, then such establishment shall be treated as establishment of within one state itself. I have taken 2 registration, then this 2 registration will be treated as deemed distinct person, right? Explanation number 2, branch or agency or in office to be registered as, அதுதான் நாங்க எஸ்டாப்ளிஷ்மென்ட் சொல்றோம், கரெக்ட்டா? ஒரு branch இல்ல agency or representation office to be regarded as or should be treated as என்ன சார்? establishment. அதுதான் நாங்க வந்து establishment மீன் பண்றோம். Are you agree with me? So because in the explanation number 1 we are using என்ன சார்? establishment இல்லையா? Then levy and collection of IGST, we are having section 5 which is the parallel section of section 9. Section 5.1 levy and collection of IGST, 5.2 levy of IGST on petroleum product, 5.3 notified RCM, 5.4 RCM from unregistered person, 5.5 section 5.1 and 5.2 are forward charge. 5.1 levy and collection of, 5.2 levy of IGST on, there shall be levied a tax called integrated goods and services tax on all interstate supply of goods or services or both, except on the supply of alcoholic liquor for human consumption on the value determined under section 15 at such rate not exceeding 40% as may be notified by the government on the recommendation of the council and collected in such manner as may be prescribed shall be paid by the right. To that 5 subsection 1 has been amended, that is IGST, levy and collection of IGST has been amended for our examination. With effect from 1/10/2023, that is our examination. Supply of online money gaming. So supply of online money gaming. Very important, it is not online gaming, online money gaming. You should be very careful. Online money gaming. So online money gaming. Online money gaming. Online money gaming. Has been notified as goods. Has been notified as goods. Online money gaming has been notified as goods. Sir, both goods and services excludes money and security. Yes sir. Yes sir. But sir, services includes activity relating to money or conversion from one form to another for or facilitating or arranging. Now online money gaming is very popular nowadays, correct? They said that online money gaming has been notified as what? On which dash shall be levied and collected by notification about something bar something. So we are going to NSR treat the online gaming, money gaming as goods, point number 1. On that we are going to levy and collect IGST. நாங்க அதுக்கு மேல என்ன கலெக்ட் பண்ண போறோம்? கலெக்ட் பண்ண போறோம். பிகாஸ் ஆன்லைன்ங்கிறதுனால அதை நாங்கள் இன்ட்ராஸ்டேட்டா ட்ரீட் பண்ண விருப்பப்படலை. என்னவா ட்ரீட் பண்ண ஆசைப்படுறோம்? பிகாஸ் சப்ளையர் எங்க, பிளேஸ் ஆஃப் சப்ளை எங்க எல்லாம் கண்டுபிடிக்கிறது ரொம்ப கஷ்டமான விஷயம். த்ரூ அவுட் இந்தியா யாரு வேணா விளையாடலாம், யாரு வேணா வாங்கலாம், யாரு வேணா விற்கலாங்கிறதுனால we can't என்ன சார் restrict the boundaries. So what we have decided is we decided to treat it as a dash state supply. So we are going to levy IGST. That's the name, online money gaming, right? And 5.2 levy of IGST on என்ன product? இதுக்கு இன்னும் விடிவு காலம் போகல. I already with me levy of IGST on petroleum product to be effective from the end date, notified date. We are having HP man, the integrated tax on the supply of high speed diesel, petroleum crude, motor spirit, aviation cargo fuel shall be levied with effect from such date as may be notified by the government on the recommendation of the levy under 5 subsection 1 is subject to the provisions of 5 subsection 2. Paka. Yes, we are having reverse charge which are in 5.3 and 5.4. 5.3 is notified reverse charge, which are talking about both for dash and dash now, goods and services now. Are you really with me? Yes, whereas 5.4 RCM on notified goods or services are? Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We'll be talking about notified RCM 5 subsection 3. Hello, sir. Yes, sir. And IGST items and 5 subsection 4, which is RCM on notified what or what? Goods or services. I said that only one RCM has been notified, which is contractor or the builder who are engaged in the and e-commerce operator. The same notification will be extending here, and whatever NSR happy services, if you want to be happy, have ORS. Are you really with me? The same notification will be applicable. So we have to discuss in the coming session, my dear lovable students. 9.3, 9.4 we have to discuss. 5.3, 5.4 we have to discuss. In that SR we have already notified. I already said that, sir, the conditions 5 effective rate of GST on in a sector, real estate sector, for new project by the promoters are as under. This notification we have to discuss. This is GST on real estate sector for new project. They have given this line, 1% without ITC. I will explain this in the coming class. 1% ITC on construction of n house, 5% without ITC on applicable of construction of all houses other than n houses or commercial apartments such as shop, office, etc. in a real estate project or in which carpet area of commercial apartment is not more than 15% of the total carpet area. But this condition should be there. Sir, above tax rate shall be available subject to any condition. Sir, ITC shall not be available. 80% of the input and input services other than services where grant of development rights, all those stuff. However, if the value of input and input service purchased from a N supplier is less than ethanol percentage, promoter has to pay GST on N charge basis under section 9 subsection 4, which we have discussed here. They are saying at the rate of 18% on all such N supply. Further, where cement is received from an unregistered person, the promoter shall pay tax on supply on such cement on N charge basis under section 9.4. Moreover, GST on N goods, capital goods, shall be paid by the promoter on N charge basis under 9.4 at the applicable rate. That means there is a connection. I have not explained this. What I said that this is the builder is there under 9.4. Okay, wow. I'll be explaining in the coming class what are the items notified under 9.3, 5.3. What are the item notified under 9.4, 5.4? There is only one item notified under NSR 5.9555, which is happy services. If you want to be happy, have ORS. Correct? So, have the regular pattern of studying, my dear lovable students. Sir, a successful person will be having one quality. That quality is called as consistency. If you are consistent in anything in your life, you can be successful. So be consistent, enjoy the revision series, be in the line of studying. I believe that those who are studied with me, sir, whether in classes or virtuals, when you are listening to this for 30 minutes, the level of clarity and the connection will be very level. Enjoy your studies to the core. In the Meda, wishing you all the very best. And happy Women's Day for all the women, sir.